Thank you for joining. Thank you. We're live, I think, for Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm going to give everybody about 30 seconds and then we'll get started. So let's give everybody a moment to chat or to join here. And in the comments, let me know where you're dialing in from. I'd like to hear from everybody. All right. Still waiting. We're going to give everybody a minute or so to get started. Give me a second. Give everybody a couple or another minute or so. All right. Ooh, Oak Park. I live in Forest Park, so we're close by. Awesome. I see Chicago. All right. So we have a lot to cover in the next hour. So again, happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Phenomenal time of year, and super excited to be with everybody today. I know there's a lot of people on here that I know, and there's a lot of new faces, and we have a tremendously large audience. So thank you again for joining. To kick us off, before we get into the business, I just want to say I'm extremely honored to be here with all of you. As you know, if you followed my journey over the past couple of years, really put a lot of focus and effort into really developing tools for all of us to excel in the workplace. To be honest, I was just tired of, not doing my part, but I saw an opportunity to do my part to help elevate as many Latinos as possible in the workplace. And so just really honored to do that. What really excites me most is that all of you are here. You believe in me, you believe in us. And to me, that is just exceptional. Everybody is really changing the way we operate. We're changing the conversation, and hopefully we change the way we show up. And I'll walk you through some things today. And then finally, before I get into business here, for those of you who know me well, I don't do this for accolades or for the spotlight. I do this for you. And, the thing that makes me happiest is when I see you shine, when I see you getting promoted. Even Yvonne, who you're going to hear from here shortly, about halfway through, I think when she got, her ERG leadership role, I think I screamed probably louder than she did. But those are the things that's why I do what I do. And so I'm here for you. I'm here to provide great resources, great tools, great guidance, so we all can excel, right, and change the script as far as our representation in the workplace. So with that, I see a lot of different locations here. So thank you all for joining. Emilio, I see you, and Olga and Maria, thank you all for joining. All right, to get this thing rolling, let me pull up some slides here because I do have slides. Give me a second. Okay. All right, let's give this a shot to come in. There we go. All right, so again, welcome everybody. So let me just give you the agenda. So really quickly, we'll level set on Latino leadership. And then towards the back end of this call, about halfway through, I'll bring in some of the people who went through my leadership program. And I just want to share their journeys, their experiences, right? Today is not about me, it's about us. And it's about us really activating our leadership journeys. So with that, let me flip through a couple of slides to get us rolling. For those of you who don't know me, again, I'm not going to read through everything here, but very passionate about Latino leadership, right? I work for AbbVie, although everything I'm doing, I have to put the caveat, these are all my own views and everything. So that's, AbbVie supports me, but these are my views, my products, etc. So I just want to have to put that out there. But if you look, I'm a senior business leader, and you'll notice as we go through this talk, I don't see myself as so much as a leadership coach, but really a business professional, a senior business professional. To me, when I think of business, I think about creating visions, aligning teams, collaborating, and driving results. And that's the way I approach this is at the end of the day, I'm looking for results from all of us. I'm looking for us all to hold each other accountable, to really lift each other up and to excel in the workplace. And you'll keep hearing me say the word excel because it's such a big word for me to achieve those results. And you'll see, all these things I've done, in the DEI space. And also a fun fact I'll leave you with is I do love golfing. So if you're ever in Chicago and want to golf, I am always game. So just reach out to me anytime. All right. To get us going, as far as today, here are the things I want to accomplish. The biggest thing I want to walk away from is sparking meaningful action, not just sparking action, but meaningful action. That is extremely important that we do that. And so there's three pieces we'll align on the current state of Latino leadership, right? We'll start to develop your awareness of what we can do as a group to close the gap, as well as individually, and then collectively commit to where we take it from here on out, right? Today is not just, hey, here's information and go do nothing. Again, in the spirit of accountability, in the spirit of results, I'm really looking to spark action, or at least spark thought that leads to action. In the end, we're trying to close that representation gap. And the only way we're going to get there is through meaningful action. I put at the bottom too, your success matters and your success is our success. And that is so true. Literally every individual person, if you have success, you represent the Latino community. The higher you get, the more impact and the more influence you have for our community. So I do this for all of you to reach your max potential. And I want to make sure we as many of us are at the top as possible. Before I get into the real meat of this, I want to quickly highlight that, although I'm the face of everything we do, there is a ton of people behind the scenes. There's literally an army of Latinos rooting for all of you who have dedicated their time, their effort, their thoughtfulness for all of you. If you even look at my playbook, for those of you who got the playbook, or if you think about getting it, there's 59 contributors, Latinos, Latinas, non-Latinos, right? Really business experts, CEOs, and everything in between to provide insights to accelerate your development. So the book is really, it's not a book of stories. It's literally a roadmap of what to do and what not to do to accelerate your career. I have an extremely strong advisory board. I'm always pinging on them or pinging them for advice. I have standard meetings. Bottom line is they're providing guidance along the way. So the things you see, the products you see, and the way you see them, there's been a lot of thoughtfulness and a lot of input around with some really influential folks that are really here to help you succeed in your career. The other piece is, my personal champions. And I probably missed a couple, so I apologize if I have. But these are the folks day in, day out. We probably touch base, with all these folks, maybe once every few weeks, couple of weeks. But I'm always pressure testing ideas, right? I'm pressure testing challenges and where I want to take this going forward, or what I'm hearing back, right? I want you to know that when you see me, you're getting really the best of the best in the Latino community. So just know that you have a whole army of champions behind me and behind you as you go forth in your careers. And then finally, I like to call her the Latina engine. What's interesting, I always get asked the question, how do you do this? Don't you have a job? And the answer is yes. And to be honest, I spend very little time. I probably spend more time doing my posts than anything, which is not much. But I do have a full-time job at Abby, which is a phenomenal job, and I love what I do. And so the Latina engine is my daughter, Sarah. I have to give her kudos. She does everything from the marketing, the signups, the programming, and just an absolute phenomenal resource. And teaching her all the ropes as far as business. So I just have to give her kudos for everything, for putting all this together, even all technology. She's phenomenal. So I had to call her out. All right. So thank you to everybody, and just know you have a lot of firepower behind us. Okay. Well, let's talk Latino leadership. This is an extremely important slide, and I want to, if anything else, I want you to walk away with this view, this slide, take a picture of it. Here's kind of what I've seen. When I hear the talks or I go to conferences, at the end of the day, we want to change that representation. In order to get there, we need three big things. I'm sure there's more things, but I want to call these big things out. These are the big blocks, right? The data. We see the data from the Latino Donor Collaborative, LDC, I believe. We get a lot of stories of inspiration. We hear, we started, everybody's inspirational stories. They started, with tough times, and now they've made it in the workplace. We hear all that, and we see that, right? And we feel it. And a lot of us have those same journeys, including myself. So data and inspiration, we got that 100%. But in order to really move the needle, we need to add something. And that something is this development, the individual development, as well as the collective development. This is so critical. And this is the missing piece, right? And I'm talking about at a community scale. And so everything I talk about in this talk and everything I do is really focused on that development piece. And a couple of quotes at the bottom. My buddy Frank Carbajal recently had a talk, and Stedman was on there, Oprah's significant other. And he made this comment and always stuck with me. He goes, if you're not growing, if you're not developing, you're out. And that can be so true. If you are not taking the steps to develop your leadership capability, you are out of the game for career promotions. You are out of the game for sponsors. You are out of the game for leadership positions in your ERG. And maybe some might skinny through, but overall, if you're not teeing this up, if you're not developing and showing that development, it's going to be extremely tough. So I just want to be very frank about that. The second piece is, if you are not uncomfortable, then you're not growing. Stretch assignments, taking on new roles, right? Believing in yourself and asking for volunteer assignments or other, whatever those things are. Again, you have to get uncomfortable, new areas, right? New frontiers if you really want to grow. And, my thought is we're all, very talented, but the more you get into other areas, the more you problem solve and showcase that problem solving capability for your business. That's what leads to your acceleration in the workplace. That's what leads to getting sponsors. And that's what leads to getting these great opportunities like ERG leadership positions or other volunteer leadership positions. So again, for today's talk, I'm going to really focus on that middle piece, because that's the missing piece that we need to take care of. Really quickly, just to open it up a little bit, give me one word that comes to mind when you see this slide and kind of what I just described. Just to give me a second to catch my breath. Give me one word that you're thinking through right now. Now read through the comments here. Okay. So we're going to keep going. This is also another powerful slide I like to show people. What I do for my classes is I look at the end of the day, I look for earning potential. As Latinos, I was like, what are the different levels? And this is corporate, so I'm sure you could do the same for education, government, et cetera. But when I looked at earning potential for our community, right, is that representation gap is missing, and Latinos are getting stuck at that entry, that early, I should say early career, but those manager and below, right? We're all stuck in that middle management position. And what I put here is some of the salary ranges, even the gross take home monthly for all of us. And the other thing you can see is at the top is some of the more senior roles, right? And so if you look at it just from a true earning potential perspective, you see we're stuck, right? We're missing out on what we can actually get if we reach our full potential. And so when I think about, and I saw this in Harvard Business Review, if you look at the green box, when you want to flip to those higher level positions, it's really critical that you flip your leadership skill capability. So for instance, I believe the Harvard Business Review said to be in those senior leadership positions, you have to focus 85% on the leadership skills, those soft skills, versus when you're down at the other positions below that we see that we're stuck in, it's more hard skills based. Bottom line is, with my programming in a Latino Leadership Playbook, it gives you insights on how to flip that, right? It gives you those leadership capabilities. It gives you that confidence to operate in the workplace. And it gives you the strategies on how to stand out in the workplace with senior leaders and to work on big things for your company. So I wanted to show us because, if you apply yourself, you start getting to those senior levels, at least director. And then from there on, who knows where your career might take you in great positions. But bottom line is, if you apply yourself with the stuff that I have in the book, with the program I have or other programs, right? I'm a champion for all Latino leadership programs. You'll start to see your life change, your family's life change, right? Your generational wealth change. At the end of the day, this is where the rubber meets the road. So I want to show the true opportunity that we all have out there to really impact our lives and our generational lives in meaningful ways. Just to reiterate, just to cover some numbers really quickly before we get on to the other folks that are going to be joining us. And hopefully you've seen these numbers. If you haven't, we're almost 20% of the population, but only 4% in these, it might be 5% now, but in these senior level roles and board positions. But keep in mind, there's this senior middle management, director, senior director. There's not many Latinos there either. So my goal is to fill that pipeline, that director pipeline that we just saw in the previous slide. Once you start filling that pipeline, then it starts feeding up to the senior, the senior executive roles. So we have work to do. We have to focus on our development, the senior middle management pipeline, which eventually will be the top pipeline for the executives. And some more key data. And I think I got this from Claudia's information, and then some from, I think, Latitude. I saw some data pop out. But bottom line is, with Latino data, and hopefully more than 77% of us are or less are unaware of it now. But bottom line is, as a community, we should all know this data, right? And we, as a population, if you look over on the left side, there's a lot of us, and we're expected to grow to 33% by 2050. And we're very young, right? I think the average age is, the mode age is 19, or I even seen it a little bit younger than that. Bottom line is Latinos are the future of this country. So it's really critical that businesses plug into it and that we're leaders that are plugging into it. At the top, because of our population, we have a lot of influence as far as buying power. And you see, currently we're the 5th largest GDP in the world. By 2029, I think it's going to be the 4th largest. And then you see some of the gaps down below. And I just spoke to some of these numbers, the Latina pay, the representation, and not feeling comfortable not feeling confident we could be our authentic selves. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? And so when you think about it, everything we're doing is in the spirit of driving these numbers, optimizing these numbers, and we want to make sure we do our part in doing so. When I think of why is it important for Latinos to do all this stuff, right? To be better or senior leaders. And I'm sure there's more stuff than this, but what I did is, here's how we can add unique value. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put my glasses here so I can read. Here's how we can add unique value. Number one is, we can bring that heart and soul to business. And that's very important. So, if we're leading teams, if we're just, making connections, that stuff goes a long way. It makes business easier. We're in the best position to develop trust with our community. We can connect well with global cultures, because even in the Latino community, as I always talk about this, there's over 20 ethnicities between us. So we can connect. We know and appreciate cultures. We embrace different cultures. So as you get into potential, companies, global companies, you can make inroads, right, with different cultures around the world. And the better you can do that, the better you can do business. So that's really important for that connection. You could bring cultural insights. So for instance, where I'm an AbbVie, I bring Latino cultural insights into our business, and that helps drive value for our business. You should be doing those same things. If you're in a position to bring insights as a Latino, as a woman, as any other affinity group, take advantage of that. That is value add, right? That is something that's powerful. That's always going to put you in a great position. I want you to also be a role model for other Latinos. The thing I tell people that I mentor or go through my program is, it doesn't stop with you. You have to impact others with the insights that I teach you, the insights that we learn together. Impact as many Latinos as possible, because the more this word spread, the more powerful we'll be as a community. In the end, it's about our community activating collectively to bring us together. And then finally, our natural superpowers. I can give a whole talk on this, but just briefly, we have grit, we have passion, we're family oriented, we're storytellers, and we can tell business stories, right? All these natural superpowers apply to the business world. We're natural problem solvers because of, we grew up with, we've done more with less, right? We didn't have much, but in the business world that applies. We're flexible, we adapt quickly, right? We do all these things, and it's so critical that you take these natural superpowers, these gifts, and apply them to your role. You'll notice you'll be able to fly through, apply things, and add value like nobody else can. And that's the power of being Latino and using your culture to your advantage. So again, in my course, I give a whole description on this, or some of my talks, and we can definitely go deeper as needed. All right. So, what do we do now? That's kind of where this is. We understand, okay, there's representation gaps. We need to do something. We need to collectively activate. As Jai said, and Jai is one of my favorite people, when it comes to Latino leadership, she just says, it's time to level up. And she couldn't have said that better. It's interesting. And I know I have a bunch of stuff on here, but when I when I mentor and I coach, I don't, and I'm just going to make it very clear, I don't do imposter syndrome, I don't do victim, and I don't do excuses. I have high expectations, and I have expectations for results. I will help you build your confidence. I will help you be bold in the workplace, and you'll see examples from some of our speakers later today. And I'll also make you be a force, right? I'm going to give you the tools and everything you need, and it's all in the book as well, to be a force in the workplace, an undeniable force. That is extremely critical. If you think about it, your competition in the workplace, the non-Latinos, they're all operating this way, right? My goal is to help you compete like never before. It's to help you compete for the best jobs. It's to help you compete for the best sponsors. That is the ultimate goal for all of this. And when I hear people they're not confident, I get that. I was there. I'm going to help you build that. And I always put at the bottom there, and I heard this from it was at the Usually conference earlier this year. They said whenever you're feeling doubt when you're going to a meeting or anything, walk into the room like God sent you. And that's such a powerful quote, and something I use in all my talks. So want to make sure we keep that alive. When I think about our community, I want to make sure that we're positioned to transform. I want to develop, bottom line is I want to help develop a new culture, right? Again, put the imposter syndrome and victim and all that aside. Let's get the culture rolling. So I always lead a culture of leadership and excellence, a culture of ambitious goals and mobility. And mobility is again, moving around, different assignments, different sponsors, hopefully, high-level mentors, that type of thing. And also creating a path for ourselves as well as other Latinos that are come behind us. All this we're doing here today, and the fact that you are here, this is bigger than all of us. This is not me. This is not you individually. Together, we can change this game. And that's the exact goal of everything we're doing here. And I see, I put that picture there for a reason. And, I feel when I see the biggest, barrier I see with Latinos accelerating in the workplace is confidence. That is by far that. If I had to nail everything down, it's confidence. And my goal is to hopefully we turn our confidence into that roaring lion you see in the back. So, so very focused on that, and that could be very powerful for all of us. When I think of collective action and individual action, really it comes down to two things. The first step for me was to develop the Latino Leadership Playbook, and I knew that was going to be step one all along. It's just really packaging all these great insights. Give me 1 second. Packaging all these great insights into one area that we can always reference. And if you look at my model that I built, because there's so much information, I was like, I need a way to organize this. And I did. We have data, we have our cultural scripts, we have true leadership skills, and then we have our natural grit and passion. As Latinos, we're known for working hard. You can see that in the last column there, but we haven't been known for working smart. And so everything we do from here on out is about working smart. It's about knowing how to apply the data in your workplace. It's about knowing how to navigate our cultural barriers and using those to your advantage in the workplace, right? It's knowing how to leverage leadership skills. We talked about that 85% versus 15% and how to leverage that effectively in the workplace. It's not good enough just to do research and know it. You have to apply it. And really, that's where we are at this point. And I am going to just quickly give you a taste in the Latino cultural scripts versus how we need to be in a workplace. And I cover this in all my talks. I'm just going to cover the first two, and you can read the rest. But as Latinos, our cultural values, our scripts, there's many more, but I boiled it down to these four. We're very respectful. We defer to authority, and we work hard, right? Keep your head down and work hard and all that good stuff. In the workplace, it's a lot different of how we need to operate. It's, as far as being respectful, of course, we're always respectful, but at the same time, you have to be able to advocate for new ideas. Pressure test the status quo. Being able to offer new ideas to your leadership, not be a yes man or a yes woman, but really put your ideas out there. That's expected. That's why we're all hired. And I hear sometimes, I don't belong in this position. You feel that imposter syndrome. Let me put it this way. When you're hired for a reason. So optimize that opportunity every time. It is expected that you're bold. It is expected that you're vocal in the workplace, and it is expected that you gain a trust and respect of your peers. As Latinos, we give respect and trust almost automatically, especially at respect in the workplace, especially at senior level roles. You got to fight for it, and you got to earn that. So I just want to show how it's different between how we're raised versus how we need to be in the workplace. Working hard. Again, we all know this piece. In the workplace, you have to work smart. You have to have broad impact across the entire organization. Marissa Solis, you see the quote I put there, Marissa, the Senior Vice President, NFL branding. She says the worst thing you can do is be defined by your role. For instance, if you're a marketer and that's all you want to do, or an accountant or whatever, it's all you want to do, you'll be known for that, right? However, if you are jumping from role to role, obviously with the support of your leader and the support of everybody else, but if you're taking chances, right? We talked about getting uncomfortable, taking stretch assignments. The more you do that, you diversify your impact. You diversify your presence across the organization, right? So those are things that are really important for everybody to see. And that's how you get known. That's how you get promotions, and that's how you get sponsors, right? So it's diversifying yourself. So there's more stuff here in spirit of time. I need to keep going, but it gives you a taste for some of the things that how we're raised versus how we need to be. When I think of, the second step, and so this year, I built out the Latino Leadership Program, the development program for both professionals as well as college students. And bottom line is I took all the key ingredients from the book and I skimmed it, right? And I took all the most powerful stuff and I put it in the program. And so it's a 5-month program. And we, we had 15 colleges and universities and we had 15 corporations. And it was phenomenal. We turned it into, we flipped it on its head and we crushed imposter syndrome. And you're going to hear some great stories here shortly. And the way we structured it is this. I'm not going to read through everything, but it gives you a feel for month over month. We provided videos, we provided readings, we covered accomplishments, right? And I said, we held people accountable. It's like, what results did you have based on what we learned? And we talked about those things, right? And we celebrated those things. At the end, we were each other's biggest cheerleaders. And you're going to hear some great stories here shortly. But bottom line, it's a very intense, it's a very expectation and results-driven experience. So if you want to accelerate in the workplace, if you want tangible results, this is the program. Bottom line, it's not just you come and you go. It's not the way this works. The way it does work is let's get into the weeds. Let's get through real examples that worked, proven examples, and let's make sure that you're accelerating, you're developing in meaningful ways. The last slide I'll show you before we get to the speakers is here. These are the results, and we had a 100% transformation for every participant that we had. And if you look at all the various topics, and I'm not saying 0 to 100. What I'm saying is at the end of the course, we did a 5-point scale, and I said, what is your level of confidence? And it has to be 4 to 5 to hit this. Bottom line is confidence was 4 to 5. You can see the numbers 100, 90%, et cetera, for all of these categories at the end of the session. So confidence grows, right? When your confidence grows, imposter syndrome goes away. When confidence goes, you become a natural problem solver. You're like, okay, what's next, right? What opportunity can I get next? Who else can I speak to at the executive level? That's the power of this program, right? That's the power of holding ourselves accountable and having high expectations and having that culture of leadership and excellence, right? So with that, I know I spoke a lot, but I wanted to make sure, I give you everything you need to know about kind of what this journey has been like for me, for everybody we touched so far. And to close this out, I don't want you to just hear from me. I could probably give you all day and, every day on this stuff, but I want you to hear from our alumni that went through this. And we're gonna have some very powerful speakers talking to you right now. We'll do a panel discussion. I'll ask some questions. We'll do this for about 25 minutes, and then I'll wrap up in the last 5 minutes. So thank you again. All right, so we're gonna flip. I'll stop sharing, and I think we'll bring everybody on stage here. So give us a second on technology. All right, I think we're good. Welcome everybody, and thanks to the panel. Thanks for joining. Before we get started, let's just do some introductions, and ladies first. And Stephanie, I'll start with you.
Perfect. Hello, everybody. Bienvenidos. My name is Stephanie Buentello. I am from San Antonio, or I reside in San Antonio, Texas. I work at Wells Fargo. I am a third generation Mexican American, first gen college graduate, and first gen corporate workforce, you can say. And then just a little bit about, my why as a Latino and why I give back to the community that we are in is pretty much I'm honored to live in a community that is majority Hispanic and Latino. And I think right now the younger generations may need more help on us speaking out. So my big goal is to gravitate towards change and to make sure that we're speaking up, and more to come. But with Ref's roadmap and his Latino Leadership Playbook, it allowed me to know that one, I wasn't alone, and two, I can give back to that community one person at a time. Thanks, Ref.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Absolutely. Yvonne.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, good evening, everyone. I am Yvonne Velis. So first off, thank you, Ref, so much for having me here today. I am super excited. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and I am a first generation Latina. So my background is, my heritage is from a Mexican father and a Nicaraguan mother. I currently reside in Houston, Texas, where I work as a senior customer loyalty manager. And as Ref mentioned earlier, that we both screamed really loud, apparently, the ERG co-lead for our Hispanic Associate Resource Team here at Cisco, where I've been able to merge a lot of my creative and my analytical skills for the past 14 years. What I did want to talk about here in the introduction is also why Latino leadership is important to me, right? I've really come to understand, especially after taking this course, how vital representation is, which is something that we all know. It seems like such common knowledge, but it's not only leading by example, but it's also making those tangible contributions that are helping uplift our communities. So that was just an aha moment for me, that to really, truly embrace it. So I recognize that, my perspective was not only valid, but it was essential. So I brought that mentality to work after this course. And that's when it really started to thrive. So for me, Latino leadership really means leveraging our experiences and our skills and driving that change. I want people to ask me questions as they see me grow within my career. I want people to be curious about how far they can go, because a few years ago, I never thought that would be me. I never saw myself past, a manager level. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Jesus.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jesus Tovar. I am from Fort Worth, Texas. My heritage is from Venezuela, and I'm a store director at Target. And just to answer why is Latino leadership important in my community? As Latinos, we bring unique cultural values like family, resilience, and community, which we all know can enrich leadership roles across all sectors in our communities. And by having more Latino leaders, we ensure that our perspectives, our needs, our ideas are represented in those decision-making processes that we know are so important, which ultimately leads to a more inclusive and equitable experience and outcomes for everybody. Invisible Latino leadership just serves such as a powerful example for younger generations. As we know, it shows them that they too can aspire to leadership roles and those leadership positions, breaking down barriers and just paving the way for more representation in those areas where our voices have historically been underrepresented. Mm-hmm. Leadership, we know, rooted in our experiences and what we share as a community, can only strengthen that, and it could just continue to drive progress for future generations. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Jesus. Jacobo.
Good evening, everyone. Jacobo Negron. Soy puertorriqueño, and I'm very happy to be here. I am from Massachusetts. I live about an hour away from Boston. Currently working for the University of Massachusetts, the Dartmouth campus, as their deputy chief of police. And why Latino leadership is important to me for the community is because I want to say it's my experience since I started the career of law enforcement when I first became a police officer for Harvard University, in 2003 when I went to the academy, and then really hitting the streets in 2004, and really walking through Harvard University and really engaging with a lot of Latinos and really helping me understand what they were looking for. And one of the things that I noticed was there was a lack of Latino leadership within law enforcement that I couldn't go reach out to. And so that led me to then really working with a lot of Latinos within Massachusetts and creating the Massachusetts Latino Police Officers Association. And that really was created to be a voice, to advocate for more Latino officers to really take the exam, succeed in law enforcement. And in terms of doing that, I still found that I still needed to do some work myself and really grow in a level that I never believed I would be in. I never believed that I could be in this position, but we'll get more into the program as to why I got to this position. But it's one of those things where we need this Latino leadership, because voices like me need to advocate for those that don't know or know how to get to that career path. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation and really share more of our story.
Thank you, Jacobo. Really good stuff. All right, so let's get into the questions. And Stephanie, I'm going to go back to you just about the program. What are your general thoughts about your experience with the program we went through, and what has it done to your confidence in the workplace?
So the confidence is really huge. The program was very enlightening. First of all, it let me know that I wasn't alone, and to know that there was more Latinos looking for the same thing. As I mentioned, I'm first gen, in the corporate world. Trying to figure it out and navigate was not easy. And I so wish every college student needs this book. I'm not going to lie, because it gives you, it's not a book. It's literally like little different scenarios that you're going to come across, from leadership to a negotiating pay. There's just so much knowledge and insight in there. I mean, your book's going to look like a little tabby thing at the end of it, but representation. I'm not alone, right? As a Latina, it took me a while to figure it out. I'm not going to lie. But as I was going through your program, I went from a VP to an executive director at my company, right? While I was in your program, I was the president of my Hispanic and Latino ERN or ERG, depending on what you say. And then I also sit on the board of ALPHA, right? And ALPHA, if you don't know, is the Association of Latino Professionals for America. And I sit on the board in San Antonio as their marketing director. And I think it's very crucial to say that my confidence built. And the reason I point out the VP to executive director is because, like Ref said, he's not here to dwell on the imposter syndrome. And I fell into it, right? You definitely fall into that thinking. And through the program, it allowed me, through the sessions of the speakers, and I don't want to go to my aha moments just yet. However, with those speakers, it allowed me to figure out and navigate the fact that, wait a minute, I belong here. I have ideas like everybody else. Not everybody may look like me, but I definitely can have that confidence and showcase that appearance to it. And I think it's important, as your stats showed, is that in middle management, there's not many of us in that C-suite, and we need more of us, and we need to continue to grow. So the confidence that your program gave me was just reassurance and affirmation that, hey, girl, you're on the right path. Just keep going. Si se puede.
Absolutely.
So it was definitely very, very good. I had a great time in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, a lot of times just reinforcement, right? It's giving you that little edge just to keep you going down that powerful path.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Yvonne, same question to you. Talk to me about your experience and what's done for your confidence.
Sure. So let's start with the fact that I was reading the book. Right. So one of my mentors had sent it to me, and I was reading the book, and I had a lot of questions, which I felt that was the issue that I had at work. Right. I didn't know who to ask. And so I reached out to Ref via LinkedIn, and it happened to be that he was starting the program. So by all luck and coincidences, I signed up. Right. So there was a lot of moments in the book that I just had to sit back, and I was like, right, that's what I thought. But really what did it for me is that the experience with the course was validating. So it was reassuring that my career path was aligned with my goals, which is something that, because my confidence wasn't completely there, I couldn't connect those dots. And so being a part of this group where everybody, my peers here, right, are sharing the same background. They have different experiences, but it created that sense of belonging and understanding that I'm incredibly grateful for. But then also knowing, like, I'm not, again, going back to what Stephanie said, right? I'm not alone in this. There are a lot of gaps that were filled in this, that were aha moments that I'm not going to get into those ones, but I'll share one thing that really helped me talk to people, is that I didn't know what a sponsor was, right? So I knew a lot. I had read everything there was to read about mentors, and I was getting more strategic with it as I was going through the course, but and I say this very vulnerably, right? I was a little ashamed that I didn't know, but then I realized this is what I'm here for. Give yourself some grace, like own it. You didn't know, now you know. What are you going to do with it, right? So that's what this course really did for me. It really brought that confidence, and for me to just pick up and go, learn it, pick up and go. What is next? So thanks, Ref.
Yeah, I love it, and I like the way you put it. Now, what are we going to do with it? Because that's exactly it. You know, just coming and learning about it, not good enough. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to apply it? That's what we need, right? And that's what's going to change everything we've been talking about so far today. All right, I'm going to go to one more, just to keep it moving in the spirit of time. I'll go to Jesus on this one. Yeah, tell us about your experience and about your confidence.
Of course. Yeah, so I tell you, my experience with the Latino Leadership Club has been super empowering. It truly provided me a space to connect, right, with others, and that share similar backgrounds, as Yvonne said, same experiences. And that alone really helped me feel more confident about bringing my authentic self into the workplace. And the program's focus on leadership through a cultural lens really gave me that confidence to act. And I think that's important, right? We've all probably have done tons of development programs where you just leave the room and forget about it. This program really gave me the confidence to act and say, okay, I'm going to do something about this. And you have the framework laid out in front of you to do so. And to also embrace my unique perspective as a strength, rather than something to assimilate or I'm going to fit in or downplay. And I think that shift really was what made me bolder in advocating for myself and in how I lead my team, which ultimately maximize my visibility in my organization.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's go into the next question. Jacobo, I'll go to you on this one. What's the impact benefit that you observed on your career, network, mobility, any one of those? What was a benefit to those things?
Well, I think it was definitely the timing of this, Ref. I mean, like when you first, you know, and I know I've been in another programs with you about 2 years ago, but really being introduced to this, being introduced to your book, and then reading just the first couple of pages really made an impact for me because I resonated with a lot of the stuff you were talking about. So it started with, you know, at that time, I hired an executive coach, which you talked about, executive coaching and sponsors, right? And so with that was something that to me was perfect because the coach said, okay, take that book, take that playbook and really identify yourself, right? Really find your true self in that. And then let's see what it does for you. And they created a roadmap. Like Jesus says, the roadmap, the framework, and it really led to, you know, while being at Harvard University and taking this course, I prepped myself for this position now for another agency. And I was a lot more successful because I went in deeper into who I really am, because I'm often reminded that you have a story. Don't hide that story. You come with an experience that many Latinos have experienced before, and you need to share that story. And I think that when I share that story in my interview process, and I really talked about really challenging the norm, like I seen it in the comments, right? Challenging the status quo. I was bringing that difference, and it led to, you know, this upward mobility being the deputy chief, because I discovered at the same time that my chief was half Portuguese, half Puerto Rican. So there was that connection, right? So I was already really having a really big boost of confidence and really making a difference in the profession that I'm in right now. So that really was the impact. And then again, the network, really meeting those that I was in the class with that were from all over this country. Again, it's so important to have that. Because again, it's just a quick connection on LinkedIn and really communicating with each other and staying in touch. And I think that was the biggest thing. And again, my book is getting a little torn up over here because I keep it in my backpack every day. And I really have covered with Post-its because again, if I experience something, I take that book and I just go back and I just open it and read for about 20, 30 minutes just to really remind myself to stay on course and stay on my roadmap and really take what you brought from that program and really applying it every day to my job.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. It was funny. I wrote the book and I do the same, right? I'm always referring to it because again, it's not just my perspectives, but perspectives of 59 others, right? So I go to what Frank says or Enrique says or anybody else. There's so many experts in there, and I'm always tapping into their brain. All right, Stephanie. Yeah, what's the benefits it's had on your career mobility network? Talk to me about that.
Okay, so pretty much I think the overall goal or what I've experienced this year, and I'm a hand talker if you can't tell, but at the same token, my LinkedIn family, it allowed me to branch out and be uncomfortable with that first word as far as, hi, how's it going? Joining the different lives and intermingling and getting perspectives from everybody, right? I'm in Texas. I may have a different viewpoint than Jacobo or, from another area of Texas, like Jesus and Yvonne. And I think it's important to not get into a silo mentality and really branch out. And so my LinkedIn family grew, my San Antonio connections definitely grew as I got more involved in the community. And then overall, I've taken on 2 stretch assignments. And those are just giving back to the Latino within my ERN or ERG, my employee network. However, it's important to me to give back. I've learned, and you got to give back. I think the problem sometimes is, and I think I saw it in the comments a little bit, is healthy competition never hurt anybody, but bring somebody along. It is so important that we bring each other along because we can only get better together. And when it's only you thriving, you're not giving back. You're not helping others. And I think it's just so important. And so from a network, it's increased. From a career perspective, my confidence has grown. I mean, I'll speak up on things I don't even, I never thought in a million years I'd ask that question, but thankfully to, Angel or Anhit, it was like, ask the question. I'm like, okay, ask the question, And so it's just allowed me to be okay being uncomfortable and navigating into that space. And so for me, it's definitely helped out. And all I want to do is teach others, to be honest with you, Ref. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. The other point I'll make here too for everybody, for the audience, and everybody here knows that, when you show up to these meetings or to these, these tables, if you get invited, one thing says, hey, come with a voice. One of the things I cover in my program is how to prepare to come with a voice, right? It's doing your homework. It's coming with perspectives and blowing those out. In other words, doing your homework before you show up at that table. By the time you get to that table, all this stuff it's ready to come, right? It's not you're thinking on the spot at the table. And when you show up at the table well prepared, well thought out, with great ideas that are well researched and vetted, again, that's how you stand out, right? What I often hear today is, we need to show up at the table and just start saying stuff. No, it's a very thoughtful and prepared process. And in this course, I'll walk you through exactly how to do those things. Yvonne, same question to you, we'll do this and then we'll move on to the next question with Jesus. But, the benefit impact to your career, talk to us about it.
Yes. So I am a little project manager at heart. That is my day job. I fell into it by nature. It chose me. I did not choose it. So I say all of this because by instilling a strong sense of accountability with this course really fed me, right? So knowing, to your point, that I had to develop a plan and I had to return with the updates, and it's not like I'm going to be in trouble, right? It's not like Ref is going to scold you in front of everybody else. It's just, you're doing this for you. And if you're not doing it for yourself, then we have some other questions to ask ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that really pushed me to take a lot of action and stay focused, but it also helped me become a lot more intentional and understand who to engage with, right? So map out what is next in my career, and based off of what is next in my career, who am I going to engage with that can help me understand or gain that visibility of getting me to that next step. So accountability not only accelerated my career progress, but it expanded my network and connected me with key professionals who are understanding of my goals, but then also where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And by being intentional with it, it felt a lot easier, and it felt like I didn't have to explain as much because I knew what I wanted to say, and it was concise and clear enough that others would understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Before I go to the next question, I do want to do a couple of calls. I see Carlos Orta and I see Ruby in here, a couple of my favorite peeps, as well as everybody else, but just a couple of shout outs to them. Thank you for everything you've done. If you're not connected to those two people, at least those two, make sure you connect with them. All right, Jesus, I'm going to double up on our last question. I know we got 9 minutes left, and I do want to tie off at the end with some other things. What was your favorite part of the course, and what would you tell others coming into this experience?
Yeah, I'll tell you, my biggest aha moment for me was realizing how much of my leadership style is influenced by my culture. And that's not one thing that I never really thought of before until I joined this group. And it helped me recognize the value of integrating my Latino identity into my leadership approach.
Mm-hmm.
And another highlight was really just hearing all the personal stories of other Latino leaders. It was so inspiring, and I see how they overcame the challenges and succeeded. Again, it gave me a renewed sense of man, I can do this too, right? And so I think that was my favorite moment of the program. And advice that I would give participants: don't hold back. I would say take full advantage of the community you're about to join. The LLC is a unique space where you can explore your leadership potential while being supported by your peers and who understand your journey. Keyword, as Yvonne said, be proactive, right, in building relationships, ask a lot of questions, and reflect deeply on every single lesson. Do your homework, because Ref leaves us a lot of homework, right? Do your homework and just reflect. And I think this program can provide the blueprint for your leadership path, but it's really up to you to embrace the growth opportunities and just really make it your own.
Awesome. Thank you. Well said. Jacobo, same thing to you. Favorite part, and what would you advise others coming through the program?
I think the branding, the extreme ownership portion I think it was the second session. I come from a command and control position, so the extreme ownership portion was definitely a flick that reminded me oh, I have to remember that as a leader, I have to take ownership, but also be a better leader. So that was a very key point. And I think for advice for those that want to take the program, again, Jesus has said it, Yvonne has said it, but again, can I see the comments? Curiosity, development, finding your why, right? Your meaningful why, and don't let anyone really take that away from you. Again, challenge the status quo, challenge the norm. Don't be afraid to be you. Again, sometimes we feel like we have to be just, holding back, but I think, like Jesus said it, you see it, you understand it, you identify your leadership, but that's who you have to be, and just work smarter, not harder. Again, I think that's what we get reminded about. But again, participate in it and take that book with you. Again, take it with you, because again, you will definitely identify that roadmap that's going to help you succeed. And again, I really truly enjoyed participating in this program.
Awesome. Thank you, Jacobo. Stephanie, to you, and then we'll finish up with Yvonne.
Let me get off mute real quick. My aha moments, I think, was going to be the business acumen that we did with John, and then of course the Angel, the strategic thinking. More so, just with what I was going through, those were two very impactful. I think when I saw your agenda, I think I had already told you too, I want that session. I'm ready for it. And it definitely gave you that boost of confidence, right? And overall, just helping me overcome my imposter syndrome. So thank you. And also shout out to Ruby, because she did help me in navigating that space as well. So I got to give her a little shout out there too. But I think it's also very important that my advice to others is going to be like you said, Ref, you're on this live right now and you're hearing us talk, but you got to take action. You got to go buy the book. You got to read the book, and you got to prepare yourself for the next step. I think that's really important, because we can sit here all day long and give you our feedback and our experiences and so forth, but we are the action that came from this book, and the tidbits of it, right? And so I've always told my team and told my mentees is you run towards change. When everybody's saying like the other way, you go towards it, because you're going to make the most difference in those uncomfortable states, right? And then not only that, speak up. I think as Latinas, we tend to be quieter. No, this is our time. You speak up. The GDP just came out. The Latino population is growing. Our spending power is growing. Our education is growing. We now need to just, come one, and let's go. So I think my advice is invest in yourself. It's the greatest investment that you can buy, and just do it at the end of the day.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you for sharing those insights. And Yvonne, we'll wrap up with you. And then when Yvonne is done, everybody be off stage, and I'll finish up with 2 final things, including our next session. Yvonne?
Awesome. My aha moment, authenticity. It's okay to bring your authenticity. And it's not that I just felt like there was a little bit of a difference between who I was at work, because I was afraid of how to navigate that, versus who I was outside of work, and even in my personal business, right? I have a photography business where I'm able to be my full authentic self. Why can't I do that here? And then seeing everybody, moving forward in their careers, understanding that we're all from different backgrounds, but we're all moving forward. We're all Latinos, right? And we're all moving forward. It's okay. And so that was my aha moment, that I knew, but it clicked. It clicked. And so that's been like a stress reliever for me ever since. And what I would tell upcoming participants, it would be to fully commit to the program and trust the process. You need to put in the work, and you need to trust the process, because it doesn't happen overnight, right? So this course is 5 months, right? And that was after we had read the book. But I'll give you my example. I really got serious about mapping out my career a different way it took me a year. So a year and 2 months now, right? And I'm still on the roll. So now I'm like, plan, do, check, act. What's next? So commit to the program, but fully trust the process and trust in yourself.
Absolutely. And I just got to say, I think 3 of you got promoted, this year, so which is phenomenal. And one, Jesus, I know you're making waves at the most senior levels of your organization. So just powerful stuff. We're seeing true results. And to me, that makes me extremely happy. Okay, everybody, thank you. Audience, stay on the line. We have 2 more things to cover, but Jacobo, Jesus, Stephanie, Yvonne, thank you so much. This was phenomenal. Loved your engagement, love your insights. And if you can't, stay backstage and let's reconnect once everybody drops. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So to wrap up, I got a couple more things to cover. So give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So to wrap things up in the last minute here, we talked a lot about ownership, taking action. And so to me, this is what taking ownership and taking action looks like for yourself as well as for a collective, right? Number 1, study. I don't, get my book, somebody else's book. It doesn't matter. Start committing, right? Start leading into this stuff. The more you engage with leadership, the more it becomes part of your being, your culture. Help develop our community. If you're an ERG leader, if you're a DEI champion, if you are some sort of senior leader with access to budget or other, invest in these programs. It doesn't have to be my program. It could be other programs, ASED, and others, Angel Gomez, right? You have some great programs out there. Start doing something, right? Again, The focus is on collective and individual development. So we need everybody to take action. And then, take advantage of the programs, at the individual level, you have mine and others I just spoke about. But, if you have to save a little bit, or if you want to take advantage of something else, but again, take full advantage of these things. And then finally, to make it real, talk to your manager. Talk to your manager about how you want to develop, build it into your plan, right? And then execute on that plan. The more you start operating this way, the more it starts becoming real. And the more real it becomes, you start seeing the results, right? So again, as a business person, I like to see the results. I like to see the plan. I like to see the vision. And I'm hopeful all of you can start taking steps towards that. As a next step for us, just so you know, if you want to sign up for my program, which is $500 a person, starts on October 9th, go to my website, refugioatilano.com. You can just register. It'll send me an email. I'll get back to you. We're still accepting applications. I think right now we have about probably like 35 people signed up. So please take advantage of that. And then finally, this was my first webcast. Our next webcast, extremely powerful, extremely important. We have some great speakers talking about the importance of Latino unity, right? I saw a comment earlier about the crab mentality. That needs to go away. It needs to go away quickly, right? We need the abundance mentality. And we're going to talk about the abundance mentality, how we support each other, how we're each other's biggest cheerleaders, and how we're going to drive our community forward collectively. So really looking forward to this. It'll be on the 21st. I'll send something out later this week on the announcement of that. So with that, again, thank you, everybody. This has been a fun experience for me personally. These are about taking meaningful action. That's where I want everybody to start at least thinking about, if not actually taking that action. So again, on behalf of me and the speakers, happy Hispanic Heritage Month, and we'll talk to you on October 21st. Thank you.